there's just so much.
You're listening to a Mamma Mia podcast.
This study found that women venting to their female friends lowers cortisol levels.
I believe it.
And this behaviour has real psychological benefits. So when we talk about having a really great, tight-knit group of women around us, it's not just because, yay, the girls, and we should be uplifting other women, which we absolutely should be, but it is actually physically and mentally good for us to have a good social circle of women around us. Hello, welcome to the summer series of Well Australian Women. This is your full body health check. I'm Claire Murphy.
And I'm Dr Mariam.
Okay, so because we know that you are doing one of several things right now, you're either going to work like usual, because even though it's a holiday period for some, it might not be for you. You could be driving or flying to your holiday destination, chilling in your PJs on your couch at home, prepping for a family event, which we'll find out today is not always the most looked forward to thing for some people. We are going to be keeping the next few weeks of Well short, sharp and shiny, because we know you've got about 1,000 other things on your plate and your attention span might be a little bit shorter at this time of year. So today, Maryam, we're going to be answering some questions that people have been sending into the show. Today, we've got one from Sierra who feels like she regresses every time she goes back home and steps foot in her parents' house. I hear you, sister. Need some advice to break that cycle. And don't forget to get your questions in. You can do it a few ways. It is well@mamamia.com.au if you want to do email, the waiting room's in the show notes, and DMs as well on Insta. And we're also going to share some of the crazy things that we've been learning along our journey for Well, because I see all kinds of mad things on my algorithms and I'm learning lots of weird and wonderful things about women's bodies. So let's go to med school first.
Let's go.
Welcome to med school.
I read two very interesting reports on studies that both involve cortisol. Cortisol is being spoken about online.
The hormone.
A stress hormone, right? But if you read things like cortisol diets,
Not a thing.
scroll on, friends.
Yeah.
These two studies are relating to specifically how women can deal with cortisol levels or deal with stress levels. Maryam, can you just remind us exactly what cortisol does in the human body?
Okay, so cortisol is a hormone produced by the adrenal glands, which are these cute little glands that sit on top of the kidneys, and it's produced in response to stress. So it plays a critical role in maintaining things like your blood pressure, your sugar levels, and initiating that body's normal stress response, often referred to as the stress hormone. So it helps the body prepare for that fight or flight reaction. While it's essential for survival, chronic stress can lead to elevated cortisol levels. However, these levels aren't as elevated as seen in pathological states, like conditions like Cushing's disease, for instance. So I just wanted to stress that it's not the cortisol itself that is pathological, but rather the behavior and stresses that drive the increase in cortisol levels. So instead of obsessing over detoxing your cortisol levels, focus on the actual stress triggers that are causing that chronic stress and that rise in the cortisol levels.
Just be aware, whenever you see the word detox, you should probably also keep scrolling.
Detox from the detox.
Yeah, how do we detox from life? There's a couple of studies that I saw some reports about. Researchers at UCLA, they asked couples to describe their homes and then tracked their cortisol levels throughout the day. Women who described their homes as cluttered or disorganised had consistently higher levels of cortisol, which stayed high all day long. Meanwhile, men in the same homes did not show the same levels of cortisol. Their levels remained stable, regardless of how messy their environment was. Now, look, I know this seems like this is explaining away why men are not stressed by mess, but the research suggests that one of the reasons men are not as impacted by it is because the onus really isn't ever on them to ever clean it up. The authors claim that women may also be more sensitive to the home environment because they often assume more responsibility for managing the household, you know, the old mental load, even when both she and her heterosexual partner are both working and earning a wage. So the conclusion of the study is that women's well-being is more closely linked to their perceptions of the home because the home is traditionally perceived as our domain and ultimate responsibility. Men, feeling less of that responsibility, are less likely to have a psychological stress response to their surroundings, like happy as a pig in shit, as they say.
It's making me stressed thinking that they're not stressed by the mess.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's why we're stressed at them because they are just not stressed
Yeah.
by any of this. But anyway, if your house is clean and tidy and if your man gets in there and does it yourself, if you're in a heterosexual relationship, then your cortisol levels might be a little bit more manageable.
Yeah.
Don't live in clutter. The second study, however, may give us some insight into how women can reduce their cortisol levels.
Yeah, do tell.
Published in the Journal of Women and Aging, this study found that women venting to their female friends lowers cortisol levels.
I believe it.
The findings reinforce the tend and befriend theory, which suggests women often respond to stress by seeking social support around them. And this behaviour has real psychological benefits. So when we talk about having a really great tight-knit group of women around us, it's not just because, yay, the girls, and we should be uplifting other women, which we absolutely should be, but it is actually physically and mentally good for us to have a good social circle of women around us.
Love it.
Now, these findings were backed up by a peer-reviewed study in anxiety, stress and coping, which examined 74 young women and found that those who used that social support network had lower cortisol responses during stressful tasks and then lower daily cortisol activity. Get the girls around, bitch about everything and anything.
Your husband.
Your job, that guy on the tram, whatever it is that is stressing you out, get it off your chest. And this is something I think that my friends and I have described as like refilling the soul cup. So after dinner with my girlfriends, I walk away feeling lighter.
Yeah.
And
you sleep better, don't you?
You sleep better and I feel more positive about life.
Yeah.
And even if we have just done nothing but bitch and moan the entire time, like legitimately, it is helpful. So it's good for your stress levels.
So yeah, bitching with your girls is the answer, friends. That is self-care. But beyond therapy-grade bonding, there are some other everyday practical ways to keep your cortisol in check. Mm-hmm. And as a doctor, I will remind you. So also nutrient-dense food. So loading up on your veggies, your fruit, your whole grains, lean proteins and healthy fats, hydration, drink plenty of water, your body will thank you, limiting processed foods, prioritizing sleep. We know that good consistent sleep helps our cortisol rhythm, and exercise and stress management. So yoga, meditation, deep breathing, even laughing.
That's the whole thing, right? People get together in groups and just go and stand outside in nature and laugh at things, yeah?
Have you seen laughing yoga?
There's laughing yoga?
No, it's a thing. It is.
So downward dog whilst giggling, is that what happens?
It's a thing.
Okay.
I just don't know how you do it. Like, is it forced laughs or do they like tickle you?
I think there's something, I don't know if people go around
It's laughing
you.
therapy. It's a thing. I swear it's a thing. I've seen it.
Even if you do start off fake laughing, that eventually it'll turn into a real laugh,
and
right?
then you'll hear someone who just has one of those contagious laughs and that'll just...
We laugh together all the time. We are our own therapy.
Get those cortisol levels down.
Get them down. That is today's Med School. Next, we are getting into a quick consult. Sierra has a family issue that's been plaguing her for literal decades. She thinks it's about time she breaks free of it. Maryam,
Yes.
it's time.
The doctor will see you now just through here to consult room 1.
Thanks for waiting. How can I help you?
Yes, it is quick consult time. Sierra has been living out of home for about a decade. She moved out when she was 25, but is still experiencing something that I think a lot of us can hard relate to. Have a listen to this. She wrote,
"Why do I turn back into my teenage self whenever I go back and visit my parents? It's like no time has passed when I go home, and it makes me not want to go to family functions because ultimately it ends up in me just fighting with my dad about something stupid and then feeling like I'm reacting like a moody teen. Someone will inevitably storm out and it's just impossible. How do I stop this?"
So you're not alone. We were saying that we all experience this.
Yep.
Here's what's happening and how you can take back control. So emotional regression, it's a natural stress response. So when we're around people who emotionally know us from way back, our brain can actually switch us back into that habitual younger self, right? Even though we've grown well past that. Well, we hope we have.
but your parents sometimes don't see you as having grown up. And I worried about this with my kid too. Like, will I always see her as my little kid?
Yeah, and will I always see them as knowing I know better than
I know
this?
more. Yeah.
Stressful family dynamics, familial triggers, year-old patterns can press emotional buttons on autopilot, right? But here's the real insight that I've learned from years of therapy, which I'll share with you. You can't change other people, but you can absolutely change how you respond to them. And that shift puts the power back in your hands where it belongs. So here's how to stay grounded and show up as your adult self. Take emotional micro breaks. So slip outside, duck into a quiet corner for a moment when you feel like your emotions are starting to peak. It resets you quicker than the family fight ever will. Set gentle pre-boundaries. So before you visit, let your family know that you'll need a bit of space or downtime. It nudges the dynamic towards a bit of maturity and respect. Practice present moment grounding. So when your teenage self is trying to hijack your reaction, check in. So this is when you have to be practicing mindfulness and being present.
You have to be aware of what you're doing, right?
So name what senses you're noticing right now. Feel the temperature, hear the sounds. It anchors you back into your adult logic. Name the pattern out loud to yourself. A simple, all right, I think I'm slipping back into my teen mode, can force you into a pause, and it fires up that adult decision-making process instead of letting that old script run. Family dynamics, unfortunately, don't shift overnight, but with these small interventions and a bit of awareness, you can consistently choose to respond with calm. So otherwise, you can just book a holiday or pretend to get COVID. It's always an option.
Avoidance is an option? Okay.
Don't tell my therapist I said that.
No, it's one of those things, and I have experienced this quite a bit too, and it is hard to be aware in that moment because you do automatically react in ways that you are used to reacting since you were a child. And if your parents still views you as a child, they will treat you the same way too. So it is very difficult to break those patterns, but being aware is the beginning of it. At least you can sort of try and check yourself and try and think about a different way to approach things or respond to things. But you're right. And I say this to my kid all the time, you cannot change other people. You can only control your own behaviour. If you don't want to avoid it, but maybe want to work on yourself, we have covered mindfulness and meditation on Well a few months back. So if you want to go scroll back and find that episode, we have this really great conversation about how to be in the moment, how to meditate, how to not fall asleep when you're trying to actually meditate and get all the benefits from it. If you do need to learn the tools in order to be able to be present and be mindful, then there's heaps of great advice in that one.
Definitely check it out.
All right.
That's it.
We're doing it fast.
We're doing it fast.
In summer. So thank you for tuning into the summer series of Well. Of course, as always, the advice you've heard here today is general. So because it's not specifically for your situation, the idea is you take it to your own GP and you say, hey, I learned this. Could this be what I'm experiencing, or could this be something related to me? And then your GP, therapist, or any member of your extended healthcare team can help you out with that. So make sure that info is 100% correct for you. Over this summer period, we're going to be shaking it up a little bit. So you'll be getting not one, but 2 Well episodes a week. How exciting. Next up, we have a real life story for you that's going to drop on Boxing Day. So when you're trying to digest your Christmas lunch and, I don't know, maybe you're a little bit hungover, we'll be speaking to Australian Paralympic swimmer Katja Dedekind about a chronic condition that she says has affected her much, much more than her visual impairment. Thank you, Maryam. We'll catch you for your appointment later in the week.
See you then.
Well is produced by me, Claire Murphy, and our senior producer, Sally Best, with audio production by Scott Stronach, video production by Julian Rosario, and social production by Ellie Moore. Mamma Mia acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we've recorded this podcast on, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation and the Wanneroo people. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.